AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that be linked with a transfer move to Arsenal.
Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. Don't forget, once again, the code is SE50 if you want to get that 50% discount off of Scout's Eyes, one of our sponsors of the show. So big up to Scout's Eyes. 4 days of the transfer, 4 days should I say, for the transfer window to open. Or should I say reopen, this joke of a window where it's shut down for 10 days and then opens again when everybody's still doing business behind the scenes. But listen, it is what it is. What striker are Arsenal going to sign? It's still the big question with every Arsenal fan. Who is that striker that's going to be coming in? Well, the big news yesterday was Victor Gyokeres' representatives were in town in London and in talks with Arsenal. Still talking. Now, seemed about probably a week or so ago that Gyokeres was definitely off. It's definitely going to be Sesko. Still might be. But it looks like Arsenal are keeping their options open at the moment and they are still talking with Victor Gyokeres' people. Now, his deal is starting to get a little bit complicated. There seems to be a big feud, as I spoke about on yesterday's show, brewing. I wouldn't even say brewing. It's happening right now between him and Sporting. Sporting's president yesterday coming out with strong words, basically, criticising Gyokeres and his agent and accusing them of threats and blackmail. I mean, it's definitely gone all wrong. Gyokeres has moved all reference from Sporting from his Instagram. He's said to be absolutely fuming because they've gone back on a deal which would allow him to have left for around about 60 million euros, plus 10 million euros in add-ons. They want more money for him now. So it's made his deal more complicated. Remember, he's older than Sesko at the age of 27, but with his goal-scoring record ready to go right now, still wouldn't mind seeing him coming in at Arsenal, but will it happen? Arsenal keeping their options open, talking to Gyokeres, his people, and are still considering him. It's not a dead deal yet. It does still seem, though, that Sesko is the favourite to come in at Arsenal. No definitive movement on that yet. Again, still lots of negotiations going on for this. But he's apparently rejected two Saudi Arabian clubs that have been trying to sign him. Wants to stay in Europe. And the talk is that is because he wants to join Arsenal. But going to have to wait and see how it all pans out. Could we get news on this one by time the window reopens on the 16th of June? Sesko or Gyokeres is a question that's been asked daily between Arsenal fans. I think we're getting to the stage where it's just like, give us one of them and hurry up and do it. Now, a player that Arsenal was very heavily linked with, and I even spoke about on yesterday's show and I've spoken about several times, was Leroy Sane. Leroy Sane was available. He's not signed a new contract with Bayern Munich. They were trying to get him to sign a new contract. Had a good season last year, but the wages were a sticking point. Well, we knew that Fenerbahce and Galatasaray were two clubs that were really, really interested in signing him. Yesterday, Galatasaray did sign him. Moves really quickly, this one. I guess the Club World Cup is about to drop and a decision needed to be made. And Leroy Sane has joined Galatasaray. Flew over there yesterday for his medical and will be announced shortly. But Leroy Sane has decided to join Galatasaray. He won't be coming to Arsenal, despite the fact that Arsenal did make inquiries about him. He has decided to join Galatasaray. I'm not too fussed about this one personally. When I looked at the age 29, it's been a great player over the years, but I just want to ask, I don't want no more of these type of signings. a bit. It just reminded me of the Sterling one last year, even though that was a loan. I was just like, nah, I don't really want Sane. I mean, I want Arsenal to go out and get a real proper, not that he's not proper, maybe that's the wrong word to describe it, but a young left winger who's ready to go for the next few years, not a 29-year-old. That was just my opinion. Nico Williams is one of those types of players that I'd love to see coming back. That's starting to look increasingly doubtful for two reasons. Number one, Bayern Munich really interested in him. Now that Sane's gone, they need a left winger. They're said to be interested in him. And Sky Germany was saying that Bayern Munich's representatives have been talking to Nico Williams' people about a deal at Bayern, and they reckon he's interested as well. There's also Athletic Bilbao, still desperately trying to sign him to a brand new contract. As I said, he's now, as we know, going to be playing Champions League football next season with Bilbao if he stays, and they're willing to give him some really big wages for him to stay as well. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Nico Williams, but he's starting to look increasingly doubtful that he will come to Arsenal, so they're still going to be on that lookout for a left winger this summer, and let's hope they can get that done. Now, what about that defensive midfield position? The Zubimendi thing's still not done. We're hoping that deal's going to get done very, very shortly. And Thomas Partey has still not signed a new deal with Arsenal. He was not put on the list of release players. Arsenal's still trying to negotiate with him, and he was talking about it yesterday and said that, you know, he's an Arsenal fan and, you know, he wants to do what's best for him and his family, and he wants to be playing football. 31 now, of course. But didn't hint that it's been sorted out yet. He just said, yeah, listen, it's between Arsenal, my agents, myself to sort it out. That's not a person saying that it's done and dusted. Now, Arsenal said to be looking at another defensive midfielder option in case Thomas Partey doesn't sign, and that is Lucien Agome, who plays for Sevilla, 23 years of age. He's French, born in Cameroon, and a defensive midfielder who had a really good season last year for Sevilla. Despite the fact that Sevilla had a horrendous season, he was one of the standout players. Manchester United were actually very interested in signing him in the January transfer window, but it didn't happen. Arsenal said to be showing a big interest in him. He wouldn't be a lot of money, probably available for £10 million or under. And he's said to be an option that they're looking at if Thomas Partey doesn't sign on for a new contract at Arsenal. So the Thomas Partey situation is interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Will Arsenal get a new deal done with him, or will they go for a younger player? Now, Joel Hato is a player that's been linked with Arsenal on quite a few occasions. It was linked in January, was linked last summer as well for that left-back position. In the end, they didn't sign him. They got brought in Calafiori. Well, he seems to be back on the agenda again for Arsenal. Fabrizio Romano claiming that Arsenal are interested in the Dutch left-back. There's quite a few teams interested in him. I note that Chelsea are one of those. There's been a long-standing interest, as I said, from Arsenal for Hato. Still only 19. He made his Ajax debut at the age of 16, you know, really seen as one of Ajax's top talents. He can play as a left back, he can play as a centre back. He's already had around about 6 caps for the Netherlands. And as I said, it's been linked with a lot of clubs. Back in January, was being heavily linked with Liverpool. Will Arsenal make a move for Joel Hato? Do they need another left back? I mean, you know, got Calafiori, who also can play left back and centre back. They, you know, as we know, they've got Mars Lewis Skelly now, who's emerged. We know that they're looking to sell Zinchenko, but Joel Hato is a really, really talented player. And we know in the past, Mikel Arteta doesn't want to let these talented players slip if he can help it. It'd be interesting though, if they bought in, say, a Joel Hato, would that mean, you know, I mean, what would happen to Calafiori, or does that mean that you move Mars Lewis Skelly into midfield? Interesting to see how that turns out. But Arsenal have made inquiries about Joel Hato. A player that they're not going to be getting, and a player that they made inquiries about, in the January transfer window and were said to be near to signing. He came and had a look around at Arsenal. To be fair, he had a look around quite a few clubs, and that's Severe Naipan of Rosenborg, the 18-year-old midfield maestro who's been, sparking a lot of interest from a lot of the big European teams. Well, he's not going to be coming to Arsenal. He's decided to join Manchester City. Aston Villa were the other team who were in for him heavily. But he's decided to join Manchester City in a deal worth about £11 million. And then they're probably going to send him out on loan to Girona. So Manchester City have been so busy in this transfer market so far. They are really getting down to business. Of course, they were trying to bring in players early because they're playing in the Club World Cup. But they have really been getting busy in this transfer window. Spent a hell of a lot of money as well. I'll tell you what. Whatever Arsenal do, and we haven't done anything yet, whatever we do in this transfer window, it's going to have to be impressive. If you look at what Liverpool are doing and how they're strengthening, of course, they won the title last year and, they've already bought in Frimpong, they're bringing in Wirtz, they're looking at a lot of other big signings. You look at what Manchester City have already done, in Cherki, Reinders, Out Nuri. They're really strengthening these teams. Arsenal, whatever we do in this summer transfer window, it needs to be good and it needs to be strong because both the direct rivals right now for that title next season have gone big already and are strengthening in a really impressive way. And I think there's a lot of pressure on Arsenal this summer window to get things right. I don't think it's going to go down very well with the fans if Arsenal don't do some really strong business in this summer transfer window. And of course, still early in the window, still yet to be seen, but the pressure is on. Thanks for watching the show today. Don't forget, we're back tomorrow. We are here even through this mini closure of the transfer window every single day with Transfer Daily. So make sure you don't miss a thing by subscribing to AFTV right now, and I'll see you in the morning.